This episode is brought to you by Espolón Tequila. Slow, sticky, snoozy. They call these the dog days of summer. But Espolón? They don't do boring. Welcome to the Marg Days. Espolón Tequila. 100% blue Weber agave, born to shake up your summer. Just add lime, agave, and a little attitude. Visit espolontequila.com. Espolón Tequila, 40% alcohol, volume 80 proof. Copyright 2025, Campari America, New York, New York. Drink responsibly.
Hello, I'm Diane Morgan. If you know who I am, you know who I am. If you don't, who cares? I'm here to explain Italian Time, a holiday phenomenon where Italians throw away their clocks and gather for eternity with San Pellegrino. I've been at this party so long that I've eaten 5 courses, hugged someone's grandma twice, and been offered a job in the family restaurant. So this holiday season, make sure to bring enough San Pellegrino to last you through the meal, the after meal, and the entire goodbye ritual. San Pellegrino, holiday on Italian Time.
I was getting frustrated, and I was about to walk away, and I called my neighbor, and I said, look, I'm getting really upset because I was complaining to him about working for the soul food factory because, you know, the joke, I called it the slave factory because of the way I'm being pushed.
This is the plaintiff, Peter Spencer. He says he was hired as a dishwasher at the defendant's restaurant, worked for the guy for 67 hours, and was paid nothing. He worked very hard for that money, and all he wants is what's rightfully his, the $536 he's owed. This is the defendant, Mark Longchamp, manager of Soul Food Factory. He says he paid the ungrateful plaintiff in cash, in his hand, and the guy threw the cash in his face. The guy got nasty with him, burned his bridges, and will never be hired at his restaurant again. That's for darn sure. Oh, him? Get out of here. He's accused of washing his hands of it.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn in.
Thank you, Judge. Peter Spencer?
Yes, Your Honor.
You are suing the Soul Food Factory, represented here by Mark Longchamp. You are the manager?
Yes.
Okay. Are you the owner?
Part owner, yes.
Okay. For $536 in unpaid wages during the week, or during the 5 days between October 23rd and October 28th last year. According to you, 67 hours?
Yes.
At $8 an hour. All right. What happened here?
Approximately October 22nd of 13, I got word of mouth from an associate that they may be accepting applications for employment at the newly opened Soul Food Factory. So he suggested that I go see what's going on down there. So I went ahead and proceeded. When I got there, I spoke to the defendant and told him that I had prior experience with working in that establishment as a dishwasher, and I was familiar with the dishwasher machine. So he said he would consider it and give me a call. So the next day, which would be the 23rd, he gave me a call about 2 o'clock and asked me how soon can I get there. I told him, he asked me if I can get there by 3:30. I said, do my best to get there. I arrived there around 3:50. He was a little upset about me being late in 20 minutes. I said, well, here on the short notice.
Why were you late?
20 minutes late because I had to make arrangements for my children and everything. Like I said, he just called me on 2 o'clock. The kids got out of school a little after 3.
Okay.
So he said, go ahead and hit the dishes. So I got to work, and from there, like I said, the next several days I've been putting in 10, 12, 15 hours, and was trying to figure out a work schedule and payment arrangements. And
But he didn't tell you how much you were going to make beforehand?
No. He kept saying, we discuss it.
But how are you going to start working what if he says, I'm going to pay you $1? All right, you're going to be a salaried employee, it's going to be $30 a week. How were you in control of what it is he was going to say?
You're correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so where did you get the $8 figure?
Eventually, when he gave me an opportunity to speak to him, I believe that was that Saturday, I believe was the 26th.
Okay.
And I finally was able to stop him for a minute. We began to talk. He said that dishwashers usually make about $300 per week salary base. He said, my brother's not here. He's on vacation. He's the one that makes the final decision, but I'm going to give you the option of the salary or $8 per hour.
Okay.
So I said, well, since I don't have a schedule and I'm not going to get dogged out from sun up to sundown, I would rather take the hourly wages
Right.
until your brother gets back.
Okay.
And after that, that Monday, which was the day before my birthday, because my birthday was on the 29th, that's why I kind of remember it, he offered me $200. And I'm just making a long story short.
So now you'd worked those 5 days, and according to you, you'd worked 67 hours.
Yeah, yes.
And in 5 days.
Yes,
Okay.
from the 23rd to the 28th.
Okay, so you come in that Monday, and you say, "Can I get paid before I keep working?"
Yes.
And he gives you 200 instead of the amount that you thought you were going to get.
Yeah, well, prior to him giving me the 200, I was getting frustrated, and I was about to walk away. And I called my neighbor, and I said, look, man, I'm getting really upset because I was complaining to him about working for the soul food factory because he knows the joke. I called it the slave factory because of the way I was being pushed. And so I said, I feel like really walking away. I don't know what to do. So he said, I'm on my way down there. Maybe we can talk and cool off, take a break.
Come on up here. Is that the gentleman you're speaking of?
Yes.
Okay, and why were you going, who were you going to talk to?
Well, I was just going to keep him calm.
Oh, okay.
Because he's kind of excitable. You know?
Okay, and so you went over there on Monday together?
No, he picked.
No, I came in afterwards.
Okay.
After he went there.
And when you talked to him, he offered you how much?
He offered me $200 in his presence.
Okay, is that accurate? Mm-hmm. And what did your friend say to him when he said that?
He said he didn't want the $200. He said, you owe me more than that.
Okay.
You know, and actually, he told him, well, you know what, just to keep everything calm, just give me $300 and I'll just walk away. And he told him, no, you'll take the $200 and this and that and the other.
What's going on here, Mr. Longshot?
Okay, Your Honor, Peter Spencer came to my establishment not once, but several occasions to ask me for a dishwasher position. I told him that I'm not interested in dishwashers at the time. I can easily get a dishwasher. I have a lot of guys in the back. I'm looking for a line cook. The second time he came back with all these credentials of how experienced he is and where he's worked in the building before. He can actually work the dishwashing machine. And I said to him, and he even said, I'll work a couple of days for free so you can see my experience.
That he'll work for you a couple of days for free so you can see his experience?
Because he was very persistent. He said, can you give me a try? I haven't worked in a while. I have bills to pay.
Give me a try is different from I'll work for free.
He said
You're
that
saying
as
he
well.
told you he would work for free.
He said, I'll work a couple of days for free.
Did you say to him that you would work a couple of days for free?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
I have a witness.
Okay. I need to hear from your witness who says that. Who's your witness?
Jordan.
Come on up. And what is your relationship to him?
I'm in one of his employees, Your Honor.
Say it again.
One of his employees.
Okay, and what was it you heard them discuss?
When he came into there, he did. Mr. Spencer had actually said, "If you give me a try, I will work a couple of days for free to show you how I work well. You know, show you my credentials." And that's what they agreed on at the first time.
So, what do you suppose if he in fact agreed to that at the beginning? Why is he so incensed when he's offered $200 later? Because it was so many hours?
Well, I wasn't there the whole time. He was there. We have different hours.
How many hours did he work?
From what I know, I'm there from 7 in the morning till 4:30 at night. I see him in the morning for a couple of hours, but then he would have a break between 3 and 6, and then he'd come back. But he would usually not come back on time, because I remember specifically that there would be dishes piled up in the back, and one of our bosses would ask, "Where's the dishwasher?" Well, we sent him home for a 3-hour break. And
But how many hours a day was he working? Was he there from 7:30 in the morning?
No.
When would he get there?
I specifically know that I come in before he does.
Right, what time does he get there?
About 8 or 9.
Okay, and then he's there until 3?
Yes.
And then he comes back and works until what time?
It depends, sometimes until 9, sometimes till 12. But what made the day so long, Your Honor, I said, why don't you come into the kitchen and try and look at what they're doing? If you're that knowledgeable, you have those good skill sets, you can probably move to the line cook position very fast. That was the arrangement. He would get there, Your Honor, it would be a different problem every day. That's why he ended up leaving, because I started saying to him, you're not holding your end of the bargain.
Why?
What I hired him for, he wasn't doing it. He was lollygagging around the kitchen. Then he would come back from his breaks. The place would reek of alcohol, okay? And then I would say, Peter, I don't think it's working out. I don't think this is going to work out. So finally, on the 5th day, he said, we never got a chance to talk. I said, okay, you know what, Peter? We'll talk today. And so by the time I got in the kitchen, he walked out of the basement stairs and said, I'm going to leave with whatever dignity I have. I said, Peter, you're going to quit? I said, I gave you a chance, and this is what you're going to do. You're going to quit. All right? Well, it's on you. He said, can I get my money? I said, Peter, come on Friday when I do payroll, and I'll give you your money.
Did you ever sit down to calculate the hours he worked and all that?
Yes.
And how many hours did he work?
If we take away the days that he was supposed to work for free, I came up with 30 hours.
How many days was he there?
He was there for about 5 days.
And how many hours was he working per day?
He would do 4 hours in the morning, get that 3-hour break in the afternoon.
She says he would come in at 9. That's not 4 hours, that's 6 hours.
It would vary, Your Honor. It would be based on the business need. And so he would leave, and I would say come back at 6 when the dinner starts, and sometimes he would come back at 7. It would be 7:30. So it was never really, and I said to him, I said, Peter, I haven't discussed the salary with you, or if you're going to be a salary employee or an hourly employee. So we'll discuss those things. And so before we can even handle that, he resigned, and that's when all the problems came. That's when he came back, threatened me.
But why did he resign?
He just walked out. He said he's going to leave with whatever dignity he has.
Why? What was he mad at? He was mad because he hadn't gotten paid and because no one had told him this is going to be your salary and this is what you're going to make and this is how many hours you're going to work. You were just really driving him kind of hard.
With his case, it was different. In his case, he was so persistent, and he gave you this long spiel about how he needs to work, and I said, you know what, I'll help the guy out. Let's give the guy a try. And that's where we were.
Let's give the guy a chance to work for me for free.
No, absolutely not, Your Honor. And I bought you
That's what you said. You said he agreed to work for you for free.
For 2 days. It was 2 days for free to show me. And I even said to him, I said, you know what, Peter, we're not going to do that. No one works for free. We're going to work out, once we see what you can do, we'll work out
so then why are you deducting the 2 days if you don't feel that that you didn't agree to that?
And Your Honor, and I made my decision based on different things. When to show you what kind of person he is, he walked in a restaurant the day after he resigned, after he brought his friend to intimidate me and made a big scene in the dining room. And
you're not that intimidating.
Well, that's what, I guess that's
kind of tall and skinny. He looks, I'd be more worried about him than him. He's just a Johnny-come-lately. This guy is mad.
Well,
what are you so mad at that you walked in that day with, I'm just going to leave with my dignity? The hours?
It wasn't even the hours. Because
what was it?
It was the fact that he was ducking me to discuss my pay, my salary, and everything. And then it was guys at the back door from the other place that they had worked from Newark, like older guys coming off of buses from Newark, standing in line, knocking on the back door, asking for their pay that they didn't receive. And these people looked like they were really going through it, like people you could take advantage of, maybe they had issues or whatever. So I seen a pattern, so that I got really concerned. I wanted my money.
Welcome back to the People's Court. RV11 here. So how long do you continue working for somebody if 1 week the guy says, I can't pay you this week?
I'll find another job right then and there.
You would? A good excuse wouldn't work?
No.
What about you?
No, it wouldn't work. I would think that I would take him to court to try to get my money.
Oh, good luck going to court when you're still working for him.
I give him 2 weeks.
You give him 2 weeks. That's actually interesting. See if it's a pattern. I like that. Going inside the courtroom.
Of course, nobody kept time records or anything else. It's just a matter of, one person's word against another about the number of hours. I'm not buying that he was supposed to work 2 days for free. He may have said that, but when you testify that you said, no, nobody does that, I don't want to take advantage of you, there's no 2 days for free here. I'm going to order that the defendant pay the plaintiff $400 in wages. That is my verdict. Good luck, folks.
Well, it gives us a chance to get some comment from the defendant. Step on in a little closer here. Tell me, what's your reaction to the judge's verdict here? Come on up.
My reaction? Yeah. I'm furious. I know it's a small amount of money, but the judge really didn't give me a chance to present her all the facts, all the case, and I didn't have a chance to say everything that I wanted.
It's a very thin line sometimes between giving somebody an advantage, right, to someone, or taking advantage.
Okay, well, you say advantage, and I say an opportunity that he squandered.
Okay. All right, right down this way, okay? All right, sir, so come on in here. You wind up with a $400 award from the judge. You satisfied with how this comes out?
I'm content. I'm content with the fact that justice was served in the matter. I did present myself as a person that was in need for a job, and I did sell myself, but no, not for free, you know. But yes, I did put it out there with a decent presentation to this man looking for work, you know.
Well, do you think he was giving you an opportunity? Do you feel like that was his intent? You weren't taken advantage of, you don't think?
I was taken extremely advantage of. I was a dishwasher, handyman, waiter, waitress assistant, cook's assistant. I was taken big advantage of.
All right. You able to get another job somewhere? A little bit better, maybe?
I work down the street from there. That's a temporary position, but it puts a half a loaf of bread on me.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you.
Harvey?
So we've talked about this before. If you are in a situation where you're working for somebody, they don't pay you, your state labor commission, a lot of them have the power to kind of go in there and look at what's going on, and they can actually put pressure on an employer to pay if the employer is doing the wrong thing. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
Don't chew on that, Max.
Cooper loves that chew too.
Oh, now he's into Cooper's food. Wow, he is loving it. What do you feed Cooper?
Blue Buffalo Life Protection Formula. He never leaves a crumb. I love it because it's made with high-quality protein, nutrient-rich fruits and veggies, and wholesome whole grains.
Looks like we're switching to Blue.
Blue Buffalo foods are made with the superior ingredients your dog needs to thrive. Can your dog food say that? Visit feedbluefood.com to learn more.
Welcome to our ugly home.
Reddit is back for a historically hideous season.
It's our 100th ugly house. This place is mayhem. That is impressive.
And if these walls could talk,
do you cry a lot?
I do.
They'd have a lot to say.
What in God's name is this pit?
Don't get too close.
No, you've seen the show. I'm scared of cat.
Ugliest House in America, season premiere, Wednesday, January 7th at 8 on HGTV.
This is the plaintiff, Tina Rudman. She says the defendant, a groomer, carelessly cut her dog so deeply she had to bring him to the vet to get stitched up. When she called the defendant to complain, the rude woman tried to blame it on her. Huh? This woman needs to be taught a lesson on how to deal with a customer and how to groom a darn dog. She's suing for $1,200 for vet bills and punitive damages. This is the defendant, Erin. She says the plaintiff brought her dog into her shop in terrible condition. His fur was all matted, and she did an excellent job grooming him. The plaintiff picked him up, and everything was fine until 4 days later when she complained she had cut him. The woman was saying all these horrible, dramatic things about her dog's injuries, and it was quite obvious she was exaggerating. She can't believe the plaintiff's now trying to blame her for something she didn't do. She refuses to be railroaded by anyone. She's accused of cutting it a little too close. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $1,020 for missed work.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says the groomer messed her dog up so bad it was cut to the core. But the defendant says the dog was all matted up, and the plaintiff didn't complain for 4 days. It's the case of the unkindest cut of all.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Tina Rudman, you are suing, let's see, the owner of the grooming place. You've asked us not to mention the name of the grooming place. Your name is Erin. You only want your first name?
Yes, please.
All right, you were suing Erin for $1,200. Part of it, veterinary bills that you incurred that you say are her fault, and the rest of it, punitive damages. You have a counterclaim against her for $1,020 for loss of work and having to come and answer to this lawsuit today. Tell me what happened.
On August 28th, 2013, I took my dog to the groomer, and we had came back, and me and my daughter went together. So they told us come back in a while. I've been using this groomer for about almost a year and a half already, and my dog.
How often do you take your dog to get groomed?
Maybe every 6 months when I really can afford it.
And the dog is a?
Maltese.
And how often should they be groomed?
Every 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay, go on.
Okay, when I do bring the dog in to be groomed, the dogs usually are matted. I've never had a problem before. It is in her policy that they do deal with matted dogs. Okay? So what happened was we came back.
Now, what does matted mean?
Like knotty.
Where the hair has grown so long and been neglected that it, well, and that happens pretty fast, right? On that breed, in particular, in a Maltese. Okay, where it starts to get knotted up.
It gets knotted up more towards the body.
So you don't. What do you do in that case? You shave the dog?
Yes.
Completely.
It's much more
kind to the animal to do that, shave it.
Right, rather than try to
it hurts.
untangle all that. Oh my gosh, all over your body. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
All right, so go on.
Okay. And she has done the dogs before, being mad or like that. It's not the first time.
Well, and she saw the dog and didn't reject the dog. She took the dog.
Right.
in.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So me and my daughter went back to pick up the dog. They said the dog wasn't ready. And what happened was they said one or two of the clippers had stopped working while they were working on the dog. I says, okay, fine. So we came back a little while
Who
later.
actually did the dog?
I did.
Okay, and did you tell her that? That had some of the clippers?
My receptionist, Tina, told her what happened earlier in the day. We have clipper vacs that sucks the hair off the dog as we clipper it. It's cleanliness and other reasons. And one of those had broken earlier in the day. We normally have 3.
Just the vacuum?
Yeah. So we
Not the clippers?
Correct.
According
but
to
it's
you-
attached to the clipper attachment, so we can't use that clipper anymore.
Okay, so go ahead.
So then we came back. We picked up the dog.
You pick up the dog and you don't notice anything wrong with the dog?
No.
The dog's not crying or anything else?
No, we just
When do
usually-
you first notice that the dog has cuts?
What happens when I went home, I put him on the couch, and usually he's very vibrant. He's running around all over the place, and he's just like sitting there.
Well, yeah, because there's no dignity in having your entire body shaved, against your will without being asked. Did you ask the dog? All right, so the dog is sitting there, and the dog is lethargic, and
He's just not acting right, so I just happened to pick him up, and that's when I saw there was a cut here. I was like, oh my God.
What's here?
On his right groin area, on his hind leg.
Okay.
Okay, and then he had like a razor cut underneath his scrotum area.
Okay.
So what happened was, it was late already. I says, let me try.
called the vet.
I didn't call the vet. I says, let me work with this with Neosporin. I figured it was a little cut, no big deal. And I waited a couple of days. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse.
You didn't call the vet the next day?
No.
All right, go on.
Okay, I took him to the vet that Saturday.
And you had picked the dog up when? When had the dog been groomed?
The dog was groomed on August 28th, and he went to the vet.
You have to know this. You have to have thought about this. You know I'm going to ask you this.
I know, I just don't remember
How many
the
days
date.
did you wait to take the dog to the vet? Just answer me. You know
a
the
few
answer.
days. I
What's
waited
a few days? I mean, you think I'm just going to stop at that? Give me the answer.
I would believe it would be 2 days, 2 to 3 days.
Give me the vet bills.
Okay.
What is the date that the dog was groomed?
August 28th.
So you took the dog 1, 2, 3 days later to the vet. So you take the dog and what does the vet do?
He put the dog, he had to put the dog out. He had to clean up the infection part, and then he had staples
Scoop
him.
it out. That's considered the surgery.
Right.
And then suture it.
Yes, he used staples.
He used staples.
Yes, I have pictures, and I have exactly what the vet did.
And that bill was how much?
That bill was about $264, $265.
That's very reasonable. All right, so when do you call her and tell her, hey, I have a $265 vet bill?
I went actually down to the office that Saturday when he was having
what
surgery to her grooming store. She
Okay.
wasn't there. I believe her mom was there. I gave her the bill from the vet. And
The same day as the surgery?
Yes.
Okay. Is your mom here?
No.
Okay. So go on.
And she says, don't worry. She goes, we'll pay for it, this and that. I says, okay, fine, not a problem. I says, I just want to give it to you. I said, the dog got hurt.
Okay, then you ended up having to take the dog back to an emergency room.
Yes.
Why was that?
The staples had gotten infected.
Uh-huh.
So I had to bring him back at night to Rocky Hill to have the staples removed.
All right, so you're out $528.15 on the vet bills, and then you're suing for $671.85 in punitive damages. How did you come up with that figure?
I just figured just for aggravation with the dog, I didn't know what was going to be with him.
Right, but you don't think she deliberately cut your dog?
No, she
Okay,
did not.
that's the situation where punitive damages are involved. Otherwise, it's negligence, and it means that it was an accident. All right, talk to me and tell me what happened when you groomed the dog.
I've groomed this dog several times before, both her dogs, and they've come in, unfortunately, in negligent matted coats. I've been grooming for 10 years, and I would know if I had cut a dog, and I just find it hard to believe that when the dog comes in and I groom it myself, it's a small white dog, you can see everything. And I don't believe that I cut the dog because of that.
Why didn't you call her right away when you noticed the wounds on the dog? Because according to you noticed it the same day,
Yes.
and then you treated it yourself. Why did you wait until the surgery to call her and say, hey, what the heck, you cut my dog?
I was really more worried about the dog and worried about them calling her.
So, do you think that this plaintiff has enough evidence to prove the groomer did it?
Yes.
Why?
Because the curse weren't there before they went to the groomer, then the groomer had to have done it.
The groomer's kind of saying, well, I wasn't necessarily the one who did it. It could have been there before.
I think if the groomer would have seen the cuts before and reported it, then they wouldn't have been responsible.
I think that's a good point. You're going to get the last word.
Well, the cuts should have been there if right after it should have been noticeable. And so I think that there needs to be more evidence.
So you think that the person should have noticed it immediately?
Yes, if it's that deep.
Interesting. Going inside the courtroom.
We have pictures of the wounds, and according to vet number 1, he says it's a clipper cut. He actually calls it that. She didn't show you the vet conclusion that he felt like it did?
I spoke with the vet on the phone, and I had asked him for a statement, but unfortunately he said he couldn't release it without written permission. So I didn't get that. However,
But what did he tell you on the phone?
He said that he thinks that it could have happened at the grooming shop, and I agree with him. Accidents can and do happen. We work on animals that are moving.
So what you did was you offered to pay half.
Yeah, after
because you felt that there wasn't enough solid proof that it happened at the grooming shop, I guess, because she'd waited 3 days to tell you.
Right. I had asked her to come in and could I see it, because a lot of times I know the difference between a dog's when their nails are freshly cut. If once their matted coat is removed, their skin feels funny and they're itching. So maybe he had scratched it. I just wanted to see it just so I could see the proof of it and talk to the vet, and she never brought him in so I could see him. So between those two things, I said, it's hard for me to say I've done it because this is my career, this is my profession.
Why didn't you bring the dog in?
Because she never did call. When I finally spoke to her, not once did she ask how the dog was doing. All I got from her was, it is your fault and I'm not paying for it.
Well, at some point you got, I'll pay for half.
Well, that's when she said, because I was arguing on the phone with her. She goes, well, I'll pay for half. I says, no. Why should I have to pay the other half? This was not my fault.
All right, folks. This isn't a criminal case where she has to prove it beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. She testifies that she notices it on the day of. Yes, she doesn't call you until 3 days later, but the vet says that he thinks that that's what that is. And there's no other, there really is no evidence of it happening at the hands of anywhere else.
As far as we can tell.
Yeah, that's enough for me. I think it happened there. So on your counterclaim against her for, $1,000, obviously you're losing, so I'm not even going to entertain that. On her claim against you, it's certainly not punitive damages kind of case, okay. But I am going to order you to pay the vet bills of $528.15. That's my verdict.
Thank you.
And so the plaintiff does collect the cost of the vet bills. What's your reaction to that?
I think it's unfortunate that the dog is neglected in such a way that he continues to be in that state, and she doesn't take any concern about it.
Mm-hmm. You, as the professional groomer, should you turn down a job like that?
No, unfortunately, what else would you do? There's not a lot of risk during the grooming. It does happen, and people should be aware of that, unfortunately. Dogs do move, and when you elevate that risk by having matted coat that we have to maneuver around, I think that's asking a lot.
All right. Just head right around the corner with Officer McIntosh there and come on out here and tell us what you think about the outcome of this case. How's Charlie?
Charlie's much better, thank you.
Really?
He's doing good.
You didn't get your punitive damages here, but you did get your vet bills.
Yeah, that's
You satisfied
fine.
on this outcome?
Yes, I am. I just feel bad that she has to lie like that. She never even cared about the dog. When I'd spoken to her and told her what happened, all she's worried about was, I'm not paying it, it's your fault. So she's really in the wrong business. And dogs do come in matted. He wasn't that bad. He was matted. He's a dog. And he's a Maltese.
Okay.
But he's cute.
Okay, Charlie's cute.
Charlie's cute.
Harvey?
So the judge was talking about the fact that this is a civil case, and the point is that in a civil case, all you have to do is tip the scale slightly, just like 51-49%, and you win. And that's going to do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
I know every operating
At my
system like
last
the
job,
back of
in
my
my current
hand.
role, I
when it comes to
5
years of
experience
and
have worked with several people from your company. I've been recognized for my passion. My team is everything.
LinkedIn delivers candidates who rise above the rest. With an up-to-date view into shared connections, skills, and interests you won't find anywhere else. See why 86% of small businesses who post a job on LinkedIn get a qualified candidate within a day. Post a job for free at linkedin.com/achieve. LinkedIn, your next great hire is here.
These are the plaintiffs, Euless Bryant and Robert McNair. Euless says he and his cousin Robert rented rooms in the defendant's rooming house, and the place was run like a flop house. There were problems with the electricity. Living there was like living a real-life nightmare. And they're suing the slumlord defendant for the return of their $1,000 in security deposits. This is the defendant, J.B. He says the plaintiffs were found to be stealing electricity from other tenants, and when he discovered it and put a stop to it, they got mad and moved out. Besides, they burned his carpeting, broke a window, ruined the refrigerator, and if anyone's owed money, it's him. He's accused of lousy landlording. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $3,503.84 for additional damages.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff says he and his cousin rented rooms in the defendant's rooming house, and he says the place was a disaster. But the defendant says the only reason the plaintiffs are pissed is because he caught them stealing electricity. It's the case of Go Fly a Kite.
Thank you, Douglas. Ulyss?
Hello.
Is that how I pronounce it?
Yes.
Ulyss Bryant and Robert McNair?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you are suing, you've asked to be referred to only as JB?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, my honor.
That's all right. I get that all the time. I don't get it when I'm in regular clearance. All right. For $1,000, the return of 2 security deposits, $500 each. You are counterclaiming against them $3,503.84 for unpaid rent and damages that you say that you sustained at their hands. All right. What's going on, gentlemen? Tell me.
Hello, Judge. Me and Robert stayed at this particular landlord's place where we were renting rooms. The rooms were $500 a month, and we were asked to pay $250 every 2 weeks.
Let me just stop you a second. Is there any dispute that there was a $500 security deposit for each of them?
No,
Or
there's
you
no
agreed to
dispute.
it? Okay, so what happens while you're living? You lived there how long?
I lived there 7 months.
How long did you live there?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. Okay, and what went wrong?
Well, I started having a problem with my insulin-dependent diabetic. And I was noticing that my insulin wasn't working correctly, and I asked Robert, was something wrong with the refrigerator? And he told me that he's always had problems with the refrigerator. So I approached the landlord about it a couple of times, and
told him the refrigerator's not working properly. It's not cool. It's not cool enough.
Yes. After I had someone come in and look at the refrigerator, a family member.
At his refrigerator because he wasn't fixing it?
Yes.
Okay.
He told me that the refrigerator wasn't no good. It just didn't work correctly. He finally took the initiative to go buy a new refrigerator.
He did replace that. Okay.
Yes.
All right, so go on.
He took a trip. Upon him taking the trip, before he took the trip in May, I had approached him and paid my rent for May, and I told him that my door was coming off the hinges. The door was coming off the hinges because he was using huge screws because it was wood rot in the door frame. So he had to use longer screws in order for it to catch and stay on the hinge. So the screws didn't hold.
Do you have a picture of what you're talking about?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, I don't.
So when do you decide to move out and why?
Robert will be able to explain that more because
When was the last time you paid rent?
May.
Why didn't you pay June rent? You were still living there in June.
Because June 6th, the lights got turned out. He wasn't in America, period. And Robert was there when they got turned out. I was at work, and they came.
Okay. So Robert, why don't you tell me, Mr. McNair?
Okay, about June 6th, 10 o'clock in the morning, lights go out. So I run downstairs, look outside. Central Hudson's outside. They're like, how you doing? We just cut off the electricity. Can you make a payment today? I was like, well, the electricity is included in the rent. So I immediately called the landlord. I was like, what's going on to electricity? Well, I'm not going to pay the electricity until Mr. Bryant moves out.
He's saying I'm not going to pay the electric bill until he
Mr. Bryant moves out.
He doesn't like him, right?
Sometimes.
He thinks he's a complainer.
No.
Did you not pay the electricity bill?
No, I didn't pay because they didn't pay their rent.
Have they paid all of May?
No.
They did not pay all of May?
No.
Okay. When did they stop paying, according to you?
One stopped paying on the 10th.
Of what?
Of May. One stopped paying on the 17th of May.
Okay.
Receipts right here.
And what they paid on the 17th of May didn't cover till the end of May?
No.
Okay. Let me see your receipts. They're over there pushing. Yeah. I got a feeling you may end up being wrong about that. All right. This says April 3, $250, covering May 3 through May 17. And then this one says May 17, covering May 17 through May 31st. So take a look at that and tell me if you're reconsidering your answer. All right, so now it's June 6th. Do you guys continue to live there in June?
Yes.
Yes.
When do you finally move out?
End of June.
Okay, and you had no electricity during June?
That's right.
You guys didn't turn on the electricity? You didn't figure something out? You didn't?
I went downstairs and I asked the lady downstairs because we weren't running extension cord downstairs.
So you ran an extension cord?
Because it was in the same building. He's supposed to provide us electricity. I'm a diabetic. I need the microwave to warm up my food and things of that nature.
Well, you're a human. You need electricity. I mean, the rest of us may not be diabetic, so we also want electricity.
What I end up doing, Your Honor, is going down to code compliance in the city of Newburgh.
And they condemned the place.
And they condemned the place.
What date did they condemn the place?
June 10th, 6 days after electricity got turned off. They came, I let them in, they came, they looked at the place, they let electricity off. They said he has this place on our books as apartments, but yet and still he's renting it to you as rooms. So he's in violation as far as the paperwork they had down there.
Okay. Did you reconsider your answer that they hadn't paid May rent now that I've showed you all your receipts where you say that they did? What is your response?
My response is, yes, I did put those receipts.
Okay, so you're mistaken, according to your receipts that you acknowledge are your receipts, and May has been paid. Mr. McNair paid until June 7th, which is the day that you turned off the electricity. Okay, so we know they paid May. So June, we're talking about, and half of July. According to you, they were still there in July?
Yes, yes.
Okay, but you acknowledge that they had no electricity for virtually all of June, right?
They were stealing electricity.
Right,
that means they were taking from me.
Okay, you understand that there's a difference between having electricity all over and having an extension cord so you can keep the fridge running. You know there's a difference, right?
There's a
Do you want
little
to live that way?
There's a little different.
A little difference. Yeah. What exactly did the extension cord enable you folks to do? Power the TV and the microwave?
Only at night.
At night. What about light?
We had so many candles and everything else.
That's romantic.
So do renters generally respect a landlord's property?
No, because sometimes the house become damaged because over the time passed, it will become bad.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Going inside the courtroom.
First of all, do you even have a CO to be able to rent out rooms like that, like you're doing?
They're next to each other.
That's not my question.
What's your question?
You know what my question is.
What is it?
Is that legal or not?
Of course it's legal.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah? It's not a code violation, the way you're renting out different rooms like that?
Actually, I don't have no separate room, closed door, nothing. It's not different because the cousin.
Oh, because they're cousins, it's okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's not how it works. Okay, let me ask you a question. You are counterclaiming against them rent, which we've talked about. You are counterclaiming against them replacing the carpet, the refrigerator, the window, and the doors, because according to you, they damaged the place. Do you have any pictures of damages?
Yes, I do.
Let me see it. You understand that you can't just all of a sudden turn off the electricity to get, you got to do like the rest of us have to do, which is go to court in order to evict someone.
Actually, I was gonna
you can't just turn off the electricity. You can't beat them up to get the rent, and you can't turn off the electricity.
People have to pay their place to sleep. There's nothing free in this country.
There's nothing free for you either. You don't get to do a free eviction by turning off utilities. You can't do that. It's illegal. It's actually a misdemeanor.
Actually, I didn't go and turn it off. Central Hudson does.
You are too much, my friend. What is this a picture of?
That's a window. But I have more evidence.
This is wood covering the broken glass. Is that it?
Yeah, actually, I have to cover.
Did you guys like smash a glass on your way out?
We didn't do anything to his place.
It was broke from the beginning. I was like,
this
that's
looks
not gonna
like
last.
somebody actually did something to the doors and the windows and stuff, guys. This looks like somebody put their cigarette out on the carpet.
Wow.
I don't smoke. I haven't smoked in 12 years.
Who's the lady who keeps trying to raise her hand behind you? Who's that?
That's my witness.
Okay, come on up. Who did this to the carpet?
The thing about it is, I understand that he has pictures, but you can't even tell what room, what floor he took the pictures in.
Are you suggesting this isn't your carpet? What are you suggesting? Who are you?
Well, at the time that he was staying at that address, Judge, I was his girlfriend.
Whose girlfriend?
His girlfriend. I'm his ex-girlfriend now. But I was...
Still speaking for you.
Well, actually, they both missed out on a lot of details. I spent a lot of time at his residence. I didn't live there because I have children and I have my own place. But once I took care of my kids and got them out to school in the morning, I did come by and I was there a lot. As for the doors, I know for a fact that he tried to get that new refrigerator once he finally did buy one. up the stairs to get it through the small hallway to get it into the kitchen, and it didn't fit. And his door was completely off the hinge after the fact of the refrigerator getting in. It wasn't like that before.
All right, so you said that this was in Mr. Roberts' room. Was there a broken window in your room with wood in front of the window?
No, the window wasn't broken. Unless somebody else moved in after me.
When did you guys move out?
Maybe closer to the end of June.
These pictures were developed in January. That's 5 months after these fellows move out. I'm going to show you the pictures he showed me, and I want to hear your response to those.
Well,
You're suing on your counterclaim $343.84 to replace the refrigerator. What did they do?
They broke my refrigerator.
How did they break your refrigerator?
They bring somebody else to fix it when I was not aware.
That's
if
ridiculous.
If it was not working, I would have put it out.
Prove to me that you spent $300 on replacing the 2 doors.
Yes.
Show me all the receipts that you're suing for. Were you still dating him when he moved out?
Yes.
Okay. Did you help him move out?
Well, I mean, I helped him move some things out, yes, because he needed to store some things.
He was saying no when you started to answer.
I wasn't saying
He's
no
so
to that.
ungrateful.
No.
Well, that's why she broke up with you.
Your
All right,
Honor.
talk to
No,
me a
Your
second.
Honor.
All right, stop. Tell me about that damage. Did it look that way? Go ahead, talk to me, somebody.
And my room was tan. This is gray.
Yep, mine was too.
So I don't know where this. That's why I'm looking where this come from. And this right here is
Okay.
This is the hallway window. There was never a window there when I moved in.
And what is it
was
you're
just-
saying?
It was just empty. It was nothing
empty.
there.
It wasn't nothing there.
It was open to the elements?
Yes.
And to
Yeah.
moisture and to bugs and everything else?
They didn't even get into the fact that they had bed bugs. That was
Yes.
another issue that they had to deal with.
Oh, God, I've heard enough. Do me a favor. Okay, as for the plaintiff's claim against the defendants, I order you to pay $500 to each of the plaintiffs in return to return their security deposit. As for your counterclaim, I find 0. I have a real problem trusting you.
Why?
Because you're just trying to win. You're just trying to win. There's no reasonableness to your testimony, and it bothers me because you're saying that that's his apartment, and he's saying that's not even true. That's not even my carpet. I've lost my trust in what you're saying. So you're going to return their security deposit, and they're not going to pay you rent for a place where they have no electricity on the grounds that they stole some to run a TV at night. It's crazy. Verdict for the plaintiffs.
All right, everybody.
Well, the defendant is out here first. Step right over here. The judge has a little problem with your credibility as you lose this case.
Yeah, I don't understand. After I presented all my evidence, and they were clear-cut evidence.
Did you listen to her ruling? She has a credibility problem with you.
I don't know why, because my evidence was clear, and I find that the plaintiff really had no case.
You can't cut off the electricity to get rid of a tenant. You can't do it.
I know, but...
Starting to understand now?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, head right around the corner this way. Okay, come on out here. All right, so you both get back $500 each for your security deposit. What's going through your mind here as you come out?
Just thank God. We have faith enough to believe that it was going to happen this way because of the way that he treated us and some of the things that he said out of his mouth and the way that he take care of his buildings, which he don't. So...
What about your living situation now? Has it gotten better as you moved out of that place?
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely,
So
it
this
has.
has worked out all for the best then?
Yep.
All right, anything to add there?
Now everybody see what kind of landlord he is.
Harvey?
You know, credibility is everything in court. When you start compromising it, you're going to ruin your case.